Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
Another hour, and hopefully another enriching hour, and I believe we have a very enriching guest. His name is Peter Matthiees. He's founder of the Conscious Business Institute. Peter, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Mike.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Good to be on the show.
Or shall I say V. Gates? Peter, let me introduce you very briefly to our guests. With us again is Peter Matthiees, founder of the Conscious Business Institute, and Peter is based in Santa Barbara, California. That was the location of a very, very dear friend of mine, Jack Nadell, who has been on my show, as you may know, a number of times, and sadly, Jack passed away about 6 months ago, and I'll never forget him. So Peter says we need a completely new way of doing business. Our current model is about accumulation, a way that is not sustainable anymore. Now, the website for Conscious Business Institute is www.consciousbusinessinstitute.com. Its approach is unique as it addresses the operational, energetic, and emotional aspects in a business. The emotional aspects in a business. I love that. Thereby eliminating persistent issues that prevent organizations from reaching their potential. Now, Peter Matthiees is a former venture capitalist, and before founding the Conscious Business Institute, he was a principal for one of the world's leading private equity and venture capital firms, Apex Partners and Company, and for B-Business Partners, a $1 billion pan-European VC fund. Peter co-founded an IT company and started his career at Andersen Consulting, Accenture, in Germany. He has published 2 books and over 100 articles on business, finance, leadership, martial arts, and technology. And Peter co-founded an IT company and started his career at Andersen Consulting. And the approaches of the Conscious Business Institute have been applied in leading organizations including Starbucks, BMW Group, Siemens, Allianz, Intel, Twitter, and others. Peter is a faculty member of the Goethe Business School in Frankfurt, Germany. He serves as a global advisor of the Climate Prosperity Alliance. I'll want to know more about that. And he's on the board of several for-profit and non-profit organizations. So, Peter, a very warm welcome to the Enrichment Hour. And I guess my first question to you is, what brought you to create the Conscious Business Institute? What were your initial motivating factors?
Yeah, that's a good entry point, Mike. Thank you. It's very personal, actually, because I was always dissatisfied with the way I worked and with my jobs. I always was successful at it, but I always found myself going at home at night asking myself, isn't there a better way to work? Isn't there a way where I can work with more fulfillment and satisfaction and not just hustle all the time? And at the same time, being a venture capitalist, you know that you see a lot of organizations, and you can visit with them, you accompany them for several years as they grow. And I saw that so many people are really, really checked out of their jobs, and they're just asking the same question, isn't there a better way to conduct business? Meanwhile, there might be 5 to 10% of our population who's thriving. They just love what they do, and they're good at it, and they go into their jobs every day, and they're usually very successful at it. And so my question was always, how can I become one of these 5 to 10% instead of the other 80 to 85 or 90% or 95% maybe even that are asking the same question? I said, can can I work with more passion and purpose and more fulfillment? And so I've been on this path for a long time, but I always found it, quote unquote, impossible in the companies that I worked in. There were some stages where I quit where I sold my company, actually my software company, and then came to California and immersed myself in things that were completely off the beaten track, Native American studies, shamanism, those kind of things, which fundamentally challenged my way of seeing the world. And with that, I went back to Europe to become a venture capitalist, but then I just couldn't do it anymore after a few years and packed my bags and came to Santa Barbara and said, I want to find a different way of running organizations. So basically, I turned my life into an experiment, which was fun in the first few months. Yeah, first few months, but then I thought, oh my God, what am I doing here? Is it totally crazy and absurd? And about 2 years later, actually, on a plane trip from New York to Charlotte, I had an insight in the plane that totally shocked me, and the word Conscious Business Institute came to my mind. That was in 2004. And the structure of the Conscious Business Institute, and it lit me up at 6 o'clock in the morning on that plane, and I said, this is what I want to do with my life. So I might say that the Conscious Business Institute found me rather than the other way around.
Yes. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, Peter. Now, do you have a dedicated enrollment, a dedicated membership?
We don't have a membership. It's a for-profit organization because I want to build it in a sustainable way. I don't have a big interest in building a large organization because I think it's not timely anymore. I'm building a global network of what we call conscious business ambassadors, which are like-minded, which want to take these practices into their organizations, which might be practitioners themselves, and which are people who are looking for concrete methodologies and step-by-step approaches to transform organizations and also to transform their own careers.
So is this about a sharing of information of business leaders, Peter? I'm just trying to get my hands on it.
Not necessarily sharing information. You can see it more as a consulting or a training organization, educational institution, where we go into organizations and work with the leadership or with large numbers of people inside the organization and help them transform from point A to point B and where they want to go.
Oh, I see.
Oftentimes it's about cultural... Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So it's a consultancy service, would you say? Would that be accurate?
Yeah, consulting, executive development, culture development in organizations, so transforming organizational cultures and helping people to lead their lives in a more conscious and more successful way. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I'm going to read a quote from you. We find that close to 98% of our workforce is disengaged. People are yearning for a way to work and live in a way where they can engage not only their mind and body, but their emotions, their spirit, and their authentic personality. The challenge for today's leaders is to provide an environment that allows for such a deep engagement. I love that quote, Peter. Love that quote. And God bless
I'm not
you.
Sure I 98%, but it's a large percentage, yes.
That is, I believe, the percentage that's in the quote. But whether it is or it is not, we'll say a large percentage. So, let me ask you this. When you go into an organization, are you usually brought in initially by the CEO, Peter?
It really depends. In small and mid-sized organizations, definitely, because usually the CEOs have a large ownership of the company. And I don't mean they literally own shares, but they have a lot of say. They can make big decisions. In large organizations, we are usually being brought in by HR because they want to develop certain programs for culture change, but it's usually mandated from the top. So there's some board involvement from the top level. But when we work with those large organizations, Starbucks or BMW, we oftentimes go into the middle level, the VP level, director level, maybe even project manager level, because that's where the rubber meets the road in the day-to-day life oftentimes.
Right.
And these guys are under a lot of pressure in wanting to change and really being open to it, which I don't see in all of the CEOs out there.
Yes. Let me read. By the way, would you tell our audience what your website is, Peter?
Yeah, our website is www.consciousbusinessinstitute.com. Just all one word.
ConsciousBusinessInstitute.com. Very good. And we don't have much time left, but I'll in this segment. But I'm reading another quote. In areas where the emotional system is functional, your business experiences flow. In areas where the emotional system is dysfunctional, your experiences struggle and resistance. I assume, and you experience struggle and resistance. So, is that pervasive in our country today? Is that a big problem? The dysfunctionality of the emotional factor. We just have 30 seconds.
All over the world.
Quick.
Yeah,
all
over the world. You're going right into the core subject. But if we experience struggle and stress persistently, there's a dysfunction in our emotional system that directly relates to that. And if we can solve that dysfunction, then the stress and struggle will be alleviated.
Wow. Well, Peter, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with Peter Matthiees, and I believe a very special guest is calling in too. Be right back.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And we're in a fascinating conversation with Peter Matthiees. Peter is the founder of the Conscious Business Institute based in Santa Barbara, California. And I believe we have a guest caller. Is Cleve Stevens there?
Yes, I am, Mike. Hello.
Hello, Cleve. And please, Cleve, say hello to Peter.
Hi, Peter. I've enjoyed what I'm hearing. I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah,
okay,
Steve,
Peter,
wonderful to meet you.
Peter, do you hear Cleve?
Yes, I can hear him. A little quiet, but I
okay,
can hear
wonderful.
him.
Now, I just had an intuition that the two of you guys might enjoy each other because it seems that you resonate on certain levels, and that is an understatement, I now realize. Peter, Cleve is the author of a wonderful book called The Best in Us, People, Profit, and the Remaking of Modern Leadership. And Cleve is very much dedicated to the humanization of business, that it's people above profits. And when you make it about people first, guess what? Profits soar. So, Cleve, you have a few questions you would like to start out with for Peter?
Sure. I first of all, Peter, I'm really intrigued by you and by what you're doing. It's actually very exciting, and as Mike said, there seems to be a lot of alignment in what I do and the work that I do with my organization and what you do. And I just, as I was listening to you and as I was looking at your website earlier in the day, a couple things came to mind. And what is how do you draw a distinction between what your conscious business versus more traditional approaches to business? Is there a structural difference? Is there an ideological or a belief system difference? Or do you simply want to bring more of a passionate, purpose-based sensibility into the current structure of business?
Yeah. Thanks for the question. And I have to say, it seems like we're very much aligned. I very much enjoyed looking at your website and reading your article that I found there. That's a big question. When I received this insight on the plane about conscious business, the term wasn't out there in the market yet, so I had no idea what conscious business was. But over the years, I have found that there's no conscious business out there. There are conscious people or unconscious people. So when the distinction is really whether a leader or a team, each and every one, is operating from a certain level of consciousness or whether they're not. What we can find is that our success, whether it's our personal success or the organizational success, really is limited by our level of consciousness. So let's say when we're at a level of 50%, I'm just putting out a number here, then we will always bump against the glass ceiling in our life at that level. It might not be with money, but it might be with personal contacts or relationships or how we interact with our children, for example. Once we expand in our consciousness, we can expand into a new level of success. So to get to your question here, what we find is it's not really doing something different, because doing something different is like a change, for example. And this is not a change. This is a transformation where we operate from a different level of thinking, and then suddenly something else is possible. And it doesn't cause any more effort. On the contrary, it causes less effort as before, where we have to do more all the time or work harder or develop new strategies. Does that address your question?
Yeah, it does. And
may I jump in a second here?
Sounds like
and by the way, that was a great question. Why didn't I think of that question?
Causes fundamentally different ways of being, even though you may say.
Cleve, Peter, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cleve, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Cleve, I just wanted to mention to Peter, and maybe you can embellish it a little bit, your description, because Peter had mentioned transformational leadership, and you bring up the profound contrast between what you call, Cleve, transactional leadership and transformational leadership. Are you familiar with those use of those two terms in contradistinction, Peter?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, do you use the phraseology transactional versus transformational to distinguish between the two fundamental types of leadership, Peter?
Yes and no. I use it, for example, at BMW. They have installed transformational leadership versus transactional leadership, so the terms are established there, and we are trying to connect to those terms when we talk to those people, because everybody in the company knows it. When we go into organizations at Fresh, we like to use different terms because they have been transactional leadership and transformational are branded with certain perceptions.
Yeah, right.
And so people have their own perceptions, and we're trying to create new perceptions of what's possible in an organization.
Right.
But again, when I read your articles, I'm totally with you that the distinguishing transformation and transactional is very much in alignment with what we're speaking about here.
Yeah.
Cleve, do you find it a challenge when you go into a company to introduce them to the idea of transformational versus transactional leadership?
Yeah, yes, it is a challenge, but I kind of want to echo what Peter said. I think he's spot on, because things have been so vividly labeled, and the language has been used to the extent that you have to really make sure that, and it's part of the reason why I like the term conscious business, as I'm listening to Peter. I've got to make sure that people don't slip into worn-out definitions and labels, and understand that at the heart of it, what it comes down to is leaders committed to growing their people, and that does, in fact, mean expanding their consciousness so that they operate at a more effective level in life, which, of course, means in business as well. So does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, and that, I assume, resonates for you, Peter, huh?
It does, yes, and it takes courage, because you can't, as a leader, you can't suddenly fall back into the old paradigm anymore when revenue gets short or when the margins are being jeopardized. This transformational leadership needs to be lived even in the most critical situation, even in the most pressure cooker situation, because otherwise it just becomes a lip service, and then people check out again and say, well, this is just another fad here, and they lose trust again in the leader.
So we're living in difficult times. I think we'd all be in agreement on that, and somewhat depressing times. However, we have people like you, Peter, and people like you, Cleve, who are at the leading edge of giving hope to people to build a better world, to put it bluntly, you know. Are you disappointed, Peter and Cleve, with the way the average corporation operates, which seems to be, not for all of them, but for too many, disengaged from the humane concerns of people? Are you concerned about that?
I'll shoot away right here. I'm not disappointed, because in order to be disappointed, I would have appointed them first. And I never expected them to be any different. So that's how they are. And I can completely see that our way of educating in our society, from the time we've been brought up as children, educational system, universities, then we enter the workplace, it's all the same model of thinking. And so it's no surprise that our organizations are run that way. We call it based on a model of dominance and subservience, which we can see play out all over the world, in organizations, in our government, very strongly so at this point in time, and even in our private relationships. So this is a model that we've been inheriting for many, many thousand years. And if we don't become conscious about this model, nothing will change. So I'm not disappointed. I'm just seeing this as a huge opportunity, actually, because we need this fire under our butts in order to change something. And there's so much transformation and change out there in the world that finally we are at a point where we can maybe shift to a different consciousness. So it's a challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity.
Cleve, can you stay on for another segment?
Sure. Happy to do so.
I'd like to continue this fascinating conversation with the both of you, and so my next question in the third segment will be, what are some of the companies that you work with or are aware of that are at the leading edge of more humaneness in business? So we're talking to two tremendous fellows, Peter Matthiees, and he is the founder of the Conscious Business Institute, and we're talking to Dr. Cleve Stevens, author of the book The Best in Us, and his company is owlsightintentions.com, and he's out of Los Angeles. And this is Mike Schwager, the Enrichment Hour. We'll be right back.
Thank you. By listening, you help prove that content marketing works. You need to engage your customers. We provide the solution. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, I'm Paul Downey, president of Senior Community Centers. Far too many seniors in San Diego go hungry each day. 2 in 5 don't have enough money for the basics. Senior Community Centers is the safety net, keeping seniors healthy and independent. But we can't do it without you. Please make a generous donation to our Fill a Plate campaign. Our goal is simple. Fill the plates of 100,000 seniors with nutritious meals. Make a gift at servingseniors.org or call 619-487-0720.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world without their smiles or their laughter? A world where children don't play or sing or dream or imagine?
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we can't imagine a world without children. That's why we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children everywhere. Diseases like cancer, pediatric AIDS, and sickle cell. And we won't stop until every child is cured and every disease is defeated. Because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Imagine putting your business in front of 3,000 to 4,000 people every single month. Have you ever thought of advertising on the Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio? Successful direct sellers use every marketing opportunity available to them. Send me, Deb, an email at deb@debbixler.com to learn more about getting your products, opportunity, or services in front of over 3,000 ideal customers every month on the Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com, on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Talk
to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And we are back for our third segment, having a very interesting conversation with Peter Matthiees, founder of the Conscious Business Institute, and Cleve Stevens, whose company is Owlsight Intentions. Is that Los Angeles proper, Cleve, or
yes?
It's just yes. Okay, great. And I believe your website, Cleve, is owlsightintentions.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
And Peter, your website is consciousbusinessinstitute.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
Right. We need to repeat ourselves on radio, you know. People don't always take notes at the top. But in any event, I'm fascinated, Peter, that now did I read or infer correctly that you have worked with companies like Starbucks and Twitter?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
We have. Mm-hmm.
And Starbucks, the CEO seems to be a very leading edge type of fellow, is he not?
Howard Schultz, yes. Yeah, he really built the organization around people-centric values, and you can feel that when you enter the building in Seattle.
Yes.
So, yes, I would say he's a very forward-thinking person.
And Twitter, would you say the same about the CEO of Twitter?
Not so much. I haven't worked on that high level with Twitter.
Oh.
I just worked with some companies on a more middle level in this case. So I wouldn't want to say too much about that.
I see. And Donald Trump seems to be having quite a bit of fun with Twitter, is he not? We'll get to that in a moment. And Cleve, are there any forward-thinking companies that you've had a chance to work with?
Well, I've worked with and that I'm aware of, too. I mean, I was going through my list of what I would say exemplar cutting-edge companies, and one of the ones that stands out most is Patagonia, the outdoor clothing manufacturer.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Patagonia? Yeah. They I think are an example, along with many others, but an example of an organization that is very much on the edge of awareness and consciousness and human development, and very, to use Peter's term, very people-centric in the way that they structure their thinking. Very much in what I would call an integral organization. So they're exemplar of that, I think.
And Peter, since you originate from Germany, from Europe, are there some leading-edge types of companies that you find inspirational in any way in Europe?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Europe is a little different in that they don't market themselves in such a strong way as oftentimes the United States companies do. So Germany is well known for its large privately held companies, so there might be 50,000 people in a company and it's owned by one person. There are some companies that are run in an extremely amazing way, people-centric, really taking care of people. They cannot be fired. All of these things that we can just dream about in jobs, and where people are very much engaged in very successful companies that nobody ever heard about. And they don't make a good, big marketing buzz around this. They just operate that way.
Is that, Peter, particularly true for Germany today?
The non-marketing, I would say yes, because Germany has the strong, what we call Mittelstand, the strong mid-sized companies, which can be up to 50,000 people or so, but they're owned by one person, one family, basically.
Yes.
And that's the structure, obviously, which is much more conducive to running companies in the way that you want to run them instead of being dictated by Wall Street or any stock market.
Right. And would either of you know whether in Russia or China there is any democratization of companies going on, or is it rather harsh?
I wouldn't want to comment on that.
Go ahead,
There are some companies which are very much democratized, but I wouldn't be an expert on that. So,
no,
how about you?
It's definitely much more so in China than in Russia. But even there, it's still the principle. They are, in terms of their consciousness around capitalism and on business, much more the way we were in the 70s and 80s in China.
Right.
There's some movement to be sure.
And tell me, to both of you, as we look at the problems in the world, do you have? It would seem that we're talking. I'm going into a little conversation about governments and how they are run. It would seem that the government that Mr. Trump has brought in leans quite very much to the right, does not seem to have much care about poor people or middle-income people, and doesn't have much humaneness in their consciousness. Am I being unfair, or do you find that looks to be the picture in the States with government, our government?
I'll go first again. It's devastating what happens in the world if you look at it from an outside perspective. When I go to Europe, people just shake their heads that how anybody in the world could vote for somebody like we have in government right now. People are just utterly stunned that could happen. So obviously he's in place, and it's a representation of what's happening in the world. We have to be aware of that. There's a certain mindset out there where this is totally a fit. So what's happening in the world is just a representation of our current global mindset, and some people playing the rules, playing not by the game, obviously, alongside with that. It's pretty harsh what's happening, and it shows very clearly that not just business isn't working anymore and not sustainable anymore in the traditional way, but also our government. People are highly dissatisfied with the way governments are run today. And so Donald Trump has an opportunity because he's breaking through all of these traditional means, which hopefully he can't do because he can't run the ship by himself. It's a devastating situation because the planet is suffering, and maybe we'll be suffering much more as a consequence of his governance. But at the same time, whenever, I mentioned that before, whenever there's a transition in the world, transformation, we need fire under our bellies or under our butts. And any transition, whether it's a birth of a child or whether it's a transformation into a butterfly, is painful. And there's always the option of death, annihilation, of something going wrong. But we need that kind of a transformation. So again, it is an opportunity which would have not been there if Hillary was voted into office. It would have been more of the same.
Is that right?
So,
Cleve, do you have a similar point of view?
I agree completely with what Peter said. It does represent an opening that is like the pain of birth in many ways. One of the things that I would add to that is that Trump is an example of how much a single leader can influence change. It's for the worse. It's regressive. It's destructive. Yes. But when you look at how his person has reduced the level of honesty, has called into question the very institutions that we rely on, like a free press and a autonomous judicial system. But you look at the way that the people around him have begun to echo him, and you can see how the influence of one individual leader who has a very regressive consciousness can radically impact and shake the world. Then on the flip side of that, as Peter was saying, it represents an opportunity for people who are more awake to step in. The question is, how long is it going to take for an awakened people to step into the openings that a Trump, by virtue of his destructiveness, is creating? I do think that we have a lot of reason to hope, but it's going to require people of a higher level of awareness to be willing to be aggressive. And I agree with Peter. This wouldn't be happening had Hillary been elected. And I mean both the negative and the positive side of this that represents this opening toward greater awareness.
Very interesting. Well, Cleve, I want to thank you so much for coming in and joining us for the second and third segment of our show. And I want to hope that the two of you will have lunch sometime, because it seems there's so much resonance.
I would love to pick your brain sometime, and thank you, Mike. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Same here, Cleve. I really look forward to speaking.
Thank you, Cleve. And Peter, that's someone who is also in California who feels like almost, I don't know, if not a soul brother, a soul cousin. But I hope that you two gentlemen will meet and get to know each other. Peter, we're going to come back for our final segment in just a minute. This is Mike Schwager on the Enrichment Hour.
Thank you. By listening, you help prove that content marketing works. You need to engage your customers. We provide the solution. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
I've been bragging about Progressive Medical Center to you guys for years, and I'm so excited to have Dr. Agoli with us because, Dr. Agoli, a lot of people walk through your doors, and some of their biggest problems are they're just fatigued, they're tired all the time, and even though they're dieting and exercising, they cannot get the weight off. Why is that?
It's a combination of poor metabolism, inappropriate eating, but more importantly, it's due to a lack of education and really doing the right testing. A lot of our patients are metabolically compromised. What does that mean? Their metabolism is not functioning. The metabolism is responsible for all physical and chemical processes necessary to sustain life, and that includes energy. And without cellular energy, your body is not going to be a burning machine. Let's get back and teach our listeners to be a fat-burning machine.
It's been a lot easier to maintain my weight since Progressive Medical Center started treating me with all-natural supplements, learning proper nutrition, and that can be you today. No more frustrations about being tired or overweight. So why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today through ProgressiveMedicalCenter.com.
This is your life, live it well.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011. 800-628-6011. NavyMutual.org. Insuring those who serve.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And we're back for our fourth and final segment. The time has really gone very quickly. And we're here now with our original guest, Dr. Well, I'm saying doctor. Maybe you are a doctor, Peter. You sound like a doctor. Peter Matthiees. And he is the founder of the Conscious Business Institute based in Santa Barbara, California. And this has been a fascinating conversation, Peter. I am thrilled with just about everything you've had to say. And I recognize that one of the things you've been saying, and I'm putting it in slightly different words, tell me if this is accurate from your vantage point or not, is that there is no breakthrough without breakdowns preceding it. Do you find that to be the case?
Breakthrough can happen without a breakdown, but oftentimes a breakdown is involved because it opens up. It just stops up and opens up a new possibility. Yeah, but there are people who have had breakthroughs without breaking them.
Okay, all right. I take it that implies through the process of evolution, huh?
Yes.
An evolutionary process that leads from one level to the next without a crash, right? Are we going through
it doesn't need to be a revolution.
Right. Are we going through any kind of a revolutionary situation of breakdown, crashing right now, do you think?
Yes, I look at it more as an evolutionary step from several perspectives, actually, because when we work with organizations, our purpose is not to change the organization, because whenever we create change, there's resistance.
Yeah.
So Buckminster Fuller says you don't, but if you want to create a change, you just offer a better system. So that's what we are going in with organizations. We don't say you need to change the way you lead. We are saying here's an alternative system. If you employ this system, your people will be happy, you will be happy, your company will be better, so do you want to take a closer look at this? And as a consequence, there's change or transformation happening.
Peter, do you have any advice that you could give either directly or indirectly to our governmental leaders here in the States?
If they would listen, we have plenty of advice. Yeah.
Is there any way to get to that? I wonder.
Well, yes. I mean, we're trying, but obviously everybody else is trying as well. So there's a big picture thing, because what I'm saying, what we're kind of exposing people to, is to understand that our current model of success that we're pursuing in our world, which we have been educated to do for a long time, that's what's making us suffer. Our current model of success is not designed to make us happy. Our current model of success, which you can see maybe in the government as well, is like do more, accumulate more stuff. So do more all the time, and we're already worked out. We're working our tails off. Accumulate more stuff, and then we become somebody. So you go into school, you do more, you accumulate a degree, and then you become a doctor. You go into join a company, you work hard, you accumulate money, and then you become a respected executive, maybe. This model is based on doing more all the time, which is not sustainable for our own lives, and it's based on accumulating more stuff, which for our whole planet is just doesn't work anymore. And lastly, it doesn't account for what we are really looking for as human beings, which is the feeling states of maybe joy, maybe peace of mind, maybe freedom, maybe inspiration. There's no part in that equation to have that being met. So we think when we have $10 million in the bank, it'll give us freedom, but that's a pipe dream, which you can see in many people struggling, which have a lot of money. So we have to break away from this model of success and find a different one. And the model that we have, which when we go into organizations, is a different operating system of how we can run organizations or how we can run governance based on this new model of success. Which, do you want me to go into that a little bit?
Oh, yes, please, absolutely.
Yeah. So the new model of success, which is really, everybody of us feels it, because when we put our heads on the pillow at night and we go, oh my God, isn't there a better way? We're yearning to be just ourselves. We're yearning to be authentic. We're yearning to show up for who we really are. But, I mean, I've never been asked in school what that really is. So we need to find out what that really is, our authenticity. The genuine connection to other people, then do what our gifts inspire. So do what we're really here to be during our lifetime. And from that centered and empowered and authentic behavior, show up in the world. And then there's a sense of flow because it's not fear-based anymore. I have to get more, I have to make more money, I have to work harder, and all these kind of things which are fear-based, and then there cannot be flow. Yes. In this way, when we're authentic, we can expand, and then we can step into the flow of life, which we are, I believe, all yearning for.
Well, I want you to run for president.
I'm not sure whether I want the job.
Oh, wait a minute! You're born in Germany. You can't be. You can't do that.
No.
Well, I certainly hope whoever our next major leader is, you can somehow get into that door and give them your heart and advice, because it is like, I listen to your words and it's like diamonds, Peter. It's so valuable, so important to have this attitude and this heart in the world today more than ever. We don't have much time left. Peter, have you heard of Muhammad Yunus, who won the Nobel Prize? His organization is the Grameen Bank. He created the original system of microfinance to help the poor, the developing countries.
Yes, I'm very familiar with him. Mm-hmm.
I think we need, I'm giving you my own point of view, I think we need systems like microfinance in Western countries so that people who are really quagmired in dysfunctional poverty and who are, some of whom, as you know, are victimized by people from at the very top. I do not believe in the trickle-down system of economics as being viable for less fortunate people. Don't you think we need, I mean, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but in the vast big game of looking at the scheme of things, that we need the humanity of systems like microfinance that also are geared for Western countries, which would be a higher scale, not only developing countries.
Yes, I would agree that, I mean, just a definite reformation of finance to have more impact, to have more impact investing, maybe to offer funding to smaller amounts of funding so people can get out of poverty. But in my personal perspective, there are many things that we can do, whether it's farming the Grameen Bank or whether it's installing solar and moving away from fossil fuels. But behind that, there's always a change in consciousness. As long as our leaders do not change in consciousness, in the big picture, I don't believe much will change.
Absolutely, absolutely right.
For me, it's kind of the bedrock to look at how can we actually make this transition on a consciousness level. And that's the question that we oftentimes get asked is, how do we actually do that? There are many people talking about changing the way we run business. But when we come to us, they say, oh, my God, you guys have a step-by-step approach how to actually get there.
Well,
as
Peter,
an individual,
if
I want to change. Mm-hmm.
If I can ever help you in this area, please let me know. Can you believe it? Our time is up, Peter. Thank you so much for having been on the Enrichment Hour. Really enjoyed your presence, and hope to have you again soon. Take care, Peter.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What?, Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released, and to encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. Scale will help you work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, visit us online at scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.